Looks to come inside and fire one a goal and find the back of the net for Perth.
And the Azzurri have come back from 2 goals down to tie it up.
Cue the celebrations for the Azzurri.
Well, after a week off due to a bit of illness, we are back. Episode 11 of the Perth SC Podcast. Great to have you on board once again. Of course, we're all powered by Lydia Fiore and the team at the Panorama Club, Perth's premier private members club and luxury workspace, and also Camera House in Leederville, your go-to destination for the Leederville and wider Perth creative community, providing expert advice and a comprehensive range of photography and video equipment. Plenty to get through on this episode. Great to be back. And I thought we'd have a bit of a chat to Kev Castle. He's going to jump on board with us. Of course, the coach of the under-23s men. Of course, assistant coach alongside Ellis Healing and with Kenny Lowe, of course, for the senior men's. Bit to chat about, isn't there? As the lads are possibly still just licking their wounds a little bit after that heavy defeat to Olympic Kingsway at the weekend. But we'll get the inside word. Kev will join us in just a few minutes. And also, I've been chasing her for a while. I've finally pinned her down. Ella Lincoln is going to jump on board. She'll stop by for a bit of a chat on her return to Dorrien Gardens and the Azzurri, what she hopes to bring the team in 2025, and of course, her massive experience in the A-League W competition with Perth Glory. So very much looking forward to those chats as we get through this episode of the Perth SC Podcast. Before we get into too much, though, I just want to send a big shout out to Brian McCready and the McCready clan upon Brian's recent diagnosis of acute myeloid leukemia. It is a terrible disease that unfortunately affects so many people, and after a sudden diagnosis, Brian has unfortunately been in hospital for a few weeks now receiving urgent treatment. We're certainly wishing Brian all the best, but as always, when one of our own is doing it just a little bit tough, one thing that's great about the Perth Soccer Club and the wider football community is we get behind our own, don't we? We really like to be able to get behind those that have done so much in the local football space, and Brian is certainly one of those people. He's been a great volunteer within the WA football community as a coach. He's had a time playing and a really big affiliation with not only Perth Soccer Club, but Carramar Shamrock Rovers as well. So Perth and Carramar, we've teamed up to bring you a bit of a friendly match, if you like, and it's all going towards a fantastic cause to hopefully get Brian back on his feet and get him through what has been a very, very difficult situation for him and his family. So we're putting together a match, in fact. It's all going together on Friday the 13th of June. That's happening at Dorrien Gardens. There'll be a Perth Masters Legends match. They're going to be taking on a Carramar Masters Legends. So, and it's in fact going to be a double header. That'll be followed up by Perth Women to take on the Carramar Women. So there's plenty going on. It is really going to be what we hope to be making the best of a pretty ordinary situation. But when we can come together and maybe just, share a bit of festive kind of vibes, and so hopefully send lots of positive vibes Brian's way as well. So the men's game is going to be on at 7 p.m. It will be just a 45-minute friendly, as both clubs have other fixtures on the Sunday, but many of Brian's mates from his playing days at Carramar will be involved, and of course a fair few people from Perth as well, as far as their legends makeup. In fact, the man himself, Dino Julbrich, he'll be pulling on the Azzurri shirt. Can you believe it? Get down there. It's been a while since I've seen Big Dino strut his stuff on the pitch, but all for a good cause, of course. And the women's match will be following that one up at 8 p.m. And that will feature players that Brian has coached at both Carramar and Perth SC. And, our club physio, Katie Holtham, she's going to jump on board as well, of course, representing England, Chelsea, Perth Glory, and she's very, very keen to dust off the boots for a good cause as well. There'll be plenty happening as far as the food stakes go, I guess. Celebrity caterer, Leon Tatalia from Cheat Meats, he's going to be jumping on board. He'll be creating smoked gourmet gourmet hot dogs. How good does that sound? For the Perth Soccer Club canteen, the bar will be open as always, and every dollar spent on the night will go to support Brian's medical treatment. So that's the most important thing. So we've received a tremendous amount of support for the night. Cheat Meats donating their catering. Big thank you to Princey Butchers for donating their stock of meats as well. And a big shout out to Remax Extreme Real Estate in Currumbine. They've donated our bar stock. So what it means is that everything that's made on the night can go towards Brian and really assist in his recovery. And we're doing our best to help out wherever we can. So even our match referees are giving their time as well. So it's all for a really good cause. Just to recap, the game's on Friday, the 13th of June from 6:30 at Dorrien Gardens. And we're also seeking donations upon entry at the gate. So if you have a little bit of cash that you can part with on the night, that would be very much appreciated. As we said, all going towards a good cause. And we'll be all doing our best to get Brian back on his feet, and we're certainly wishing him all the best. You can also check out the GoFundMe page, which has been launched. If you can't make it on the night, please consider donating for that brilliant cause as well. You can follow the links by simply heading over to the Perth SC social media pages, as well as the Carramar Shamrock Rovers social media pages, or you can search Brian McCready on GoFundMe. That's Brian with a Y. So, we're certainly wishing Brian and his family all the very best for his recovery. And, Brian, if you're listening, mate, I know that you are an avid listener of the podcast. We're certainly wishing you very, very well, mate, for the next little period. All right, let's take a little bit of a look at the football itself. Take a bit of a look at the weekend's results. Unfortunately for our men's sides, it wasn't a great weekend. As mentioned, a heavy loss for our Azuri men on Saturday afternoon, going down heavily, 6-0 to Olympic Kingsway. I'm going to have a chat to Kev Castle about that and see if we can nail that down too. But I'm sure the boys they'll be hurting from that, certainly, and they'll be doing their utmost to get back into the winner's circle as they get set to take on Perth Glory this coming weekend. But we'll keep an eye on that. We'll have a chat to Kev in just a few minutes. Under 23s, unfortunate 2-1 loss for our under 23s. Massimo Payano on the score sheet there for Perth. For our 18s, another heavy defeat, going down 4-1. The 18s to Olympic Kingsway. Harry Surtees, he's kept up his great run of form. He's on an absolute fire at the moment, Harry. So keep that up, mate. And opportunities will certainly start opening the doors. We are very, very sure for you. The Sunday for our senior women, a 2-1 win away to UWA. Jess Flannery opened the scoring before UWA levelled it. They were a little bit tough to break down at times, UWA, and I'm sure we'll chat to Ella a little bit about that as we push on through the podcast. But it was Ella Lincoln, in fact, who came off the bench to score the winner in that one for the senior women. And finally, for our women's 21s, I guess a more positive result there as well, because it was a 2-2 result against UWA. Macy McCready, great to see her on the score sheet, as well as Ruby Marshall. And the 21s women, that of course is Brian McCready's side. So I think he'd be okay with walking away with a tough fought 2-2 result there. So there we have it, a bit of news out of our senior men's and women's sides. We might take a very, very quick break, and we'll break down what is going on with the men's side of the program. Kev Castle, who's going to join us next on the Perth SC Podcast. Welcome back to the Perth SC Podcast. Great to have you with us once again. As mentioned, a couple of special guests on this edition. One of them, in fact, is Kev Castle. He is one of the assistant coaches for the senior side, but also takes a very big role in obviously harnessing the next generation as head coach of the 23s. Kev, thanks for jumping on, mate.
No, thanks for having me, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. Mate, first of all, let's start with the senior sides. Heavy loss, it must be said, up there at Olympic Kingsway. It's a side that's really had our number for the last couple of occasions. Mate, first of all, how did you see it?
Look, it's a frustrating one when you look at the scoreline. I don't really think the scoreline reflected the game. I think particularly the first 25 minutes we were on top. Thought we were the better team. We were creating chances. Look, you don't want to be the one that says errors cost you games and things like that. But is it a penalty? Maybe not. The other one's offside. So when moments like that happen in games, it's tough because it does change the momentum and it changes the swing of the game. So I think that has an impact on it. Look, can we react better to certain situations? Definitely. But look, the group of boys we've got, they're a great group and they really want to push on and really compete up at the top end. So look, I don't think there'll be any issues with us bouncing back.
Is it just a simple matter of just the experience possibly of Olympic compared to, it's fair to say that Perth has got a very young side, a very exciting side, but it's still a very young side?
Yeah, I think so, mate. Look, we've got a real young group, and obviously experience helps. I know Moggy's younger still, but he's played at a good level, and obviously he's not in there. Sammy Riak, obviously being suspended. So we've got boys in there that have played at good levels and that have got the experience. So when they're in the squad, it makes a big difference. But you look at Kingsway, they've got boys that have played A-League and that's fine. We've got to be able to compete and learn how to manage that. And that's another part of the learning, I guess, for our younger players. They've got to learn to manage moments, manage games and be better in those situations, which it'll come with. We will. It just takes time.
How concerning is it? I guess it's been a couple of weeks now without Curtis Mogg. Sammy Ryak was a big loss, but you've had to shift him from that 6 role essentially back to centre back. Is there a bit of concern about the depth at the back currently?
Look, we can always get players in and you can always get players in and be better and stronger. If it was that easy, that's what every club would be doing. So look, we definitely are looking at it, and if we can add, then brilliant. But we've got what we've got, and we work with what we got, and we've got what we have got is some great top young players that are really coming through. And if we can help push them and keep developing, then I don't think there'll be any problems. Look, it was a relegation battle last year, and now we're sat fourth after Glory going into the halfway mark, and I think we're competing well. Some of the goals we've scored have been brilliant. We've got a real clear way of what we want to do, and we believe in what we're doing. So look, I don't think there's no panic stations. It's just a couple of results, which is going to happen to every team throughout the competition. So we'll be fine, mate. We'll be fine.
Another, I guess, worry over the last couple of weeks was Gordon Perkins, who leading goal scorer, it must be said. He did feature on the bench on the weekend, mate, but is there any real concerns about where he's at? And, I mean, are we likely to see him back in the first team next week?
Look, I think he's got a bit of a knock just with his groin that he's been carrying for a few weeks. And, look, he's been phenomenal for us so far this season. The goals he scored, and he's a real big player for us. So it is a loss. Potentially could be back in from the weekend. Obviously that'll be down to the physio, and then obviously if he can get back in training down to Kenny, then of course if we can have him, then he'll be a potential. But we'll just have to manage the injury and see if we can get him back in.
What's the feeling within the group following that loss, and how do you ensure it doesn't knock the wind out of your sails entirely as you go into the next couple of fixtures?
Honestly, mate, there's been obviously a reaction as you'd expect. It doesn't matter what the loss is. If you lose, you always want to come back the next week and be ready to go. But I don't see any difference in regards to the attitude and how we approach training. The intensity is always through the roof. The boys are competing, that they're always getting each other to be better and want to win. And it's not like that shifts for us whether we win, if we draw, if we lose. It doesn't matter. Our principles and what we believe in and what we want to do always stay the same. So intensity in training's just a non-negotiable, really. And the boys love it, and they push each other in. We've got. I don't see any issues, mate. I think we're capable of bouncing back at the weekend and putting another run together for sure. I think the boys will be good. We'll be fine.
Is there a little bit of a thought that maybe you've let that really good start to the season slip? It's kind of, you're looking over your shoulder a little bit now on fifth and the rest of the pack, and how do you ensure that you can get back to those winning ways and really get on the front foot in that regard?
Look, I said it before. We don't look behind us. We don't look in front of us. At the end of the day, we are us. We're our coaching staff. We're our group of players. We're our team. We focus on us. Nothing changes. We play our way. Teams can adapt to us. We do our thing, and we believe in what we want to do. So there's certainly no panic stations from anyone. I think our level is where it is, and we'll be able to keep pushing it and make it better, and we'll get there. There's still a long way to go. We're only at halfway point now. We're sat fourth off the back of what was a relegation battle season last season. So if you'd have said that at the start of the season, I think everyone at the club probably would have took that. So I think at the minute we're overachieving from where we were last season, and now it's just up to us to keep raising the bar and keep pushing it.
The other big news this week was that Mark Birighitti will be departing for a professional opportunity, which is absolutely fantastic for Mark. But I guess it does open the door for Matthews, who's going to come in. He's been recalled from his loan spell at Kingsley West Side. How exciting is it for Matthews? But I guess how much of a loss is it going to be to lose Beers?
Look, yeah, Beers has been great. He's come in and getting to know him over the last sort of 5 months or so, whatever it's been, and the experience he's had in the game has been brilliant. So all the best to him. I'm sure going forward he'll be great where it is he's ended up. And Matty's brilliant, mate. So he's always been in there training with us anyway. Even whilst he was with Kingsley, he just adds he's got a real bite to him. He demands a standard, and he doesn't let a standard drop. So having him come into the group and give us that little kick of energy, especially from the back where you can see the pitch, is brilliant. So we're happy to have him back in for sure.
Bit of a cheeky one, Kev, that he's a pretty good-looking rooster, mate. Are we expecting maybe the female membership numbers to go up a little bit for the rest of the season?
No comment on that one, mate. No comment.
Sorry, mate. I had to chuck that in. As I said, a bit cheeky of me. The 23s, of course, that you are also in charge of. A bit of a change in structure from what we've seen, whereas the reserves competition was the under-20s, essentially. How have you kind of navigated that, and how have you seen that? And I guess, how does that fit into the overall picture of essentially having these young lads, getting them ready to play first-team football?
What I've noticed, it doesn't change my philosophy on it. I'm not going to go and get a team of 21, 22-year-olds to win a reserve league. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in developing boys and getting them into the first team. So we've kept it young. Look, we've got the youngest team in the league, which I have no issues with. The big change I've seen in the league going from 20s to 23s is we've got to learn and manage moments more. So you can dominate a game for in between the boxes, or for 90 minutes or whatever it is. But then if you let one moment, which has happened to us a couple of times this season, affect the game, then you can lose the game, which for young players, it's part of their development, and they've got to learn, how to manage the match, how to manage the tempo. Do we need to speed up? Do we need to slow it down? What areas of the pitch are you in? So that's all part of their development. So that would be the biggest shift I've seen from the 20s to 23s. Quality-wise, probably, around the same. But definitely that, because you're playing older boys, you're playing more physical boys. Some of them have already played in that league for 5 years, from before under 20s. So it's a shift for them. But look, I think our boys have been brilliant so far, and I couldn't be happy with them at the moment.
You've already seen a couple that have been elevated so far. Taylor Phoenix-Wright's one. Elma Zamastagic is another one. How happy are you with the development of the side and I guess the ones that will get those opportunities with the seniors?
So look, for us, it's about creating a pathway and making sure it is a true pathway and it's there. So at last count, including the night series, 9 under-23s have been involved with the first team. 6 have made their official debut. So I think to be sat here at just entering round 10, I think it is, or whatever it is in the league, to be entering round 10 around there and have 6 debuts, 9 boys involved, I think you go, okay, I think there's a pretty good job being done, which is credit to obviously Migsy, who works with me. It's credit to Kenny and those boys for giving that pathway and actually saying, hey boys, look, the opportunity's there. If you want it, you've got to come and take it. And we train as a group, the first team in the 23s, so that the competition's always there and the standards are always there, and we play the same way, so it's clear instruction from the 23s to the first team what we want to achieve and what we want to do. And I think it only makes the players better. And then when they do get the chance to step into the first team environment, it's down to them to go in there and go and take one of the boys' shirts and keep it.
With the change to the 23s, is there a thought that it's pretty much just a reserve side rather than a junior development side, if I can use it in those terms? Because that number, and many would think, hey, once you're 23, you probably should be playing senior football anyway, if you are going to go on to bigger and better things. If you get what I'm saying with that, is there a feeling that it's just a little bit more of a reserves team?
It does. Look, some clubs take it differently than what we do, and we'll turn up and it'll be a team of 22, 23-year-olds, which is that's fine. They're totally within their right to do that if that's what we want to do. But for us, it doesn't matter. It might be a bit more of a reserve league, but I don't care. We have our way of playing. We know what we want to do. We know how we want to develop players, and actually, you know what? If they're playing boys that are 3-4 years older than some of the boys that are in our team, no problem. Then okay, go and compete against them. Go and show what you can do against someone who is bigger, stronger, faster, maybe because of the age. Go and compete against them and go and bet yourself. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and you can get comfortable in the uncomfortable situations. And when they eventually, hopefully, push into the first team, they've already played against boys that age. They're already training with the first team. They're already seeing that stand, and it just helps. So look, it makes no difference to me if it's 20s, 23s, whatever they want to do. We're going to do our thing and do it our way.
And just personally, I mean, juggling that dual role between being a head coach of the 23s but also assisting Kenny and Ellis on the sidelines for the seniors, mate, how do you find that?
No issues at all, mate. Honestly, to have the opportunity to come in and work with Kenny, I mean, probably majority of coaches in the state would snap their hand off to have the opportunity to work with him. So it's been clear from day one how we want to do things and what we want to do, and we're on the same page, and the relationship there is brilliant. So it makes no odds to me, the workload of it. I love it. It's all I want to do. I come home, I watch games, we plan sessions, we watch opposition games. It's your life revolves around it, but if I wasn't doing it, I'd be sat home I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd be bored saying, I've got nothing to do. So it makes no difference to me. That I absolutely love it and being in and around it in both sides. So yeah, long may it continue.
Just to delve a little bit into working with Kenny, how have you found that? And I guess what's the insights that you've learnt from him over the last few months? It's it's a wealth of knowledge. Like just the way he sets his teams up, what he wants to do.
Some people might watch on the side and they have their opinions, no problem. But when you watch it and you're in there and you're on the pitch and you see the tiny details, why we're doing little things like something as simple as like this very start of the season, something as simple as just like a 4v2 square and a 10x10, and he rattles off about 50 rules of the game, and you go, wow, like the level of detail is just another level, and to be able to actually work with him, and to be honest, more importantly, be able to call him a mate as well. Like building a relationship with him's been more important for me than obviously just working with him on the pitch. But he's at the top in his field, and there's a reason he's there and what he's achieved. So yeah, I'm very lucky to be able to work with him.
Just from the outside looking in, it feels like there is some real camaraderie there between yourself, Ellis, Tommy Morass, Glenn, goalkeeping coach. I mean, it's quite just to paint a bit of a picture for those who will be listening. There is a Thursday night where you quite enjoy each other's company, chat a bit of football, maybe have a beer or two, and it really seems that you guys enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, I think you got Miguel as well, my assistant in there. He's been phenomenal to come in as well. Look, I think maybe we do it for the Thursday beer afterwards. I don't know. maybe that's why. But look, we love it. It's look, we take it all serious, the football seriously. And look, even when we're not at training, we're always messaging, we're on the group chat, we're always talking about the game, what we can do to improve and make the boys better and make the club better and be a good place. So it's, we all care, we're all 100% invested, we all love it, and honestly, I couldn't be working with a better group of boys either. They're as a coach and staff, you couldn't ask for better.
Kev, just a little bit on your own journey, mate. Where did the love of coaching come from? Was there a bit of a playing career prior to this, or mate, tell us a little bit about your story? Yeah,
so strange one really. I was over playing in the UK. I was in Eastleigh Football Club, a National League team. I was playing in the academy there. And then I was there 18 to 20, 21, come back, and then I'd played here before, living here, and I was going to play again. It was during that COVID time, so I did have a year with Graham Normo at Forestfield. So that was the last time properly that I played, and just went into coaching. I was helping out a junior under 15 side just for the rest of the season. Caught a bug for it, did my C licence, ended up at just doing bits and bobs at Football West, and then just through chance struck a bit of relationship with Gareth Naven, who I owe a massive amount for my career so far to. If it wasn't for him giving me an opportunity to go in and assist him and work with him at Bayswater for 3 years, then definitely wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So I owe a lot to him, and his level of he's another one that's like, his level's unbelievable. So I got to work with him through that. Met Kenny, ended up at the Glory for a year in the academy, and then obviously he ended up parting ways with the Glory and coming to Perth. And then from there, I think from probably halfway through last season, I probably knew where I was going to end up for this season. But so yeah, I've been very lucky to only be coaching for about 6 years now, to be where I'm at, to have spent 3 years with Navesy, to be with Kenny now. Like, that's, I'm blessed with the people that I've been able to work with, and yeah, the wealth of knowledge you get from it is second to none, definitely.
Big game coming up this weekend. Perth Glory, who's they're on a bit of a tear at the moment themselves, having a great season. Mate, how do you approach this one, do you feel?
We approach it the same as we approach every game. Look, we don't change. We have our way of play. We've watched what they do, and they're a very good young team. Joe and Keva, the coaches there, I know them really well, and they're top guys. So they'll have them set up. They'll have a plan. But look, for us, we play our way. We stick to our principles and our standards and our way of doing things, and we'll be fine if we can turn up and we're on it. Then we can beat anyone on our day. I thoroughly believe that.
If you were to pick a challenging part of the year so far, and what would be the most enjoyable part that maybe you've enjoyed so far this season?
Look, I guess you can say the most challenging part's probably now. Look, we've had a couple of results that haven't gone our way. I still think, I look back at the Bayswater game, we were absolutely phenomenal. The start of the Kingsway game, we still were. So although it's still it's a challenging part now. That's only because of the way the results have gone. It's not because of anything else. We're still doing our way of doing things, and nothing will change there. But it's up to us as coaches to really drive and push the group on and get the belief in there, which hasn't dwindled at all. And then look, it's going to be a standard answer, but all of it, mate. I've loved every single second. Being the people at the club are good. Obviously, coaching staff, the group of players we've got are exceptional. So there's not been a moment where you're not wanting to go to training. I can't get through the day so I can get to football, get to Saturdays. It all rolls around that, mate. So loving every single second of it.
Yeah, beautiful stuff, mate. Hey, all the best this weekend against the Glory, and thanks for jumping on.
Cheers. Thanks for having me, Blaine. Appreciate it, mate.
Welcome back to the Perth SC Podcast. Big thanks to Kev Castle, who joined us a little bit earlier on. I'm delighted to be joined by Ella Lincoln, who, a very handy inclusion back into the NPLW side this year. She's been there a couple of weeks, but Ella, first of all, welcome back to the Azzurri.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What's it like to be back? Obviously, you've been away working with the Perth Glory A-League W side, but you must be back to be on familiar blades of grass, shall we say?
Yeah, it feels great. Good to get some match minutes back. joined such a great bunch of girls, and Tommy and Nando are great. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it so far for the last couple of weeks.
It must be awesome as well to link up with former teammates. Of course, you had a breakout year last year. It was phenomenal, taking out the golden medal, but you were very well helped by names like Jess Flannery, Sam Mathers. It must be great to be working back with those girls as well.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a few new faces and they've fitted in seamlessly. So it's really good to be back with the girls.
Obviously, there's been some changes since you were last at the Azzurri. Daniel Brogan has departed. Tom Glavovich has come in with Fernando Barrero. Maybe a little bit of a change working with a new manager compared to Brogues?
Yeah, definitely. But honestly, the Nando and Tommy have created such a positive environment. They're so interested in women's football, so that's really good. But the girls, they're great.
No, that's okay. I mean, obviously, you've been there at Perth for a while. Does it feel like you've almost got a little bit of a leadership role, even though you are just back at the club newly? Does it feel like you've got a bit of a responsibility to maybe bring up a little bit of the next gen?
Kind of. I know there's a few in the 18s that really look up to me, which is really cute. I hope I can make an impact on their career. But yeah, I don't really feel like I'm really, too much of a leader, I guess. But yeah.
Well, I guess you're a bit of a quieter character, shall we say? So, I mean, is it more about just leading by example?
Yeah, correct. Just hopefully my playing style and putting the ball in the back of the net, leading from the front.
And I guess, just going back to the change in coach. Obviously, from the outside looking in, it's hard to really get a gauge on some of the fundamental changes working under Daniel Brogan compared to Tom Glavovich. How have you found that transition, and is there much of a difference in the way that they both operate?
No, not really. Like, I haven't really been down. It's only first couple of weeks I've been down with Tom and Nando, so I haven't seen too much, but I don't think there's really much of a difference, no.
We mentioned that you'd been away with the Perth Glory team. Hugely exciting opportunity for yourself to get that opportunity. Take us through some of your experiences with that. I mean, the step up and everything else like that. How did you find the experience?
The experience was great. Definitely I definitely expected, like, what I expected for my first season. I thought I wouldn't really appear much, but got a few appearances under my belt. Not many minutes as I would have liked, but definitely hopefully next season I can get more minutes. But overall my experience was great. The girls were amazing. Coaches were good. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I was given. So.
And the step up, Ella, how did you find the step up from NPL level to A-League W level? Yeah,
plays a big toll on your body, both physically and mentally. The transition, obviously going from only a couple of days a week to a full-time training environment, and there's obviously, the professional environments can be quite overwhelming. Obviously, you're coming up against internationals and like players that have been in the environment for so long. So yeah, it was quite overwhelming at first. It was quite challenging, but once I found my feet, I felt fine, could be myself. So, yeah.
Obviously, a big part of that is the travel. How did you find that part of it? I mean, it's a bit different to rocking in on a morning for an afternoon game at Dorrien Gardens compared to having to leave on a Friday and coming home on a Sunday after a weekend fixture. How did you find that side of it? And I mean, how much of a transition did you feel you had to make mentally and physically for that?
Yeah, it definitely was tiring, traveling. But I traveled more away than I did play at home. So I did get to experience a lot, but it was good. It's a great opportunity to, like, with your friends, create a lot of memories. Obviously, you're doing what you love. It's great. So it was tiring, but yeah, there wasn't really, I didn't really find it challenging because it's really something I wanted to be doing. So, yeah.
And the standard, Ella, did you feel that you were comfortable at that level when you did get your opportunity, or was it a little bit of a grind at times?
Definitely was a grind. Obviously, from going so much exposure in the NPL to very little exposure in the A-League, that was challenging, I found. But, yeah.
What were the big takeaways, do you feel? Was there anything that you kind of walked away and went, wow, I didn't know that would happen, or I didn't know too much about that area?
No, not really, because I did get a little bit of a taste of it last season, or not last season, season before, sorry, being a train-on. So I did get a taste of what it was like. And when I got given that opportunity, that's what really made me grind to want to get to that level. So it made me work even harder because I knew I really wanted to be there.
You come from a big football-loving family. Of course, your father's very well known around the local leagues and very, very passionate about his local football. But for you, Ella, was it always going to be football? Was there other opportunities for maybe other sports or other career paths, if you like?
Well, I was a dancer. So when I was little, before I was doing kindy dancing. So, yeah, I was a dancer before I was a footballer. So I was actually, the day I quit when I was 12, so the day I quit, I was very upset that I had to leave dancing. But it was a good decision at the end of the day, and I don't regret one bit of it.
Was it a matter of having to choose one or the other? Or?
Yeah, because football was getting a lot. I was obviously enrolled in a club and then as well as NTC. So it was too much, obviously on top of school. So it was too much. So I had to give up one thing, my parents told me.
So did you start your juniors at Perth? Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, at Perth, and then you went into the NTC and then came back again.
So Dad registered me in under sixes at Perth. So then so started playing at 5 in under sixes boys up until under 11s. And then I made the transition to our rivals at Bayswater. The whole family moved, my brother and my dad as a coach. We moved to Bayswater from 12s to 15s. So I was doing, I was in the NTC this whole time as well as a train-on, just for extra training and staying within the pathway for nationals, as well as playing with the boys. Yeah, so from 6s to 11s with Perth.
Your style, you mentioned there that you played juniors with a lot of the boys.
Yeah.
Your style's quite a physical game as well. Is that something that you pride yourself on? And I guess just reflectively, the players that I've always spoke to that have said that, look, they had that upbringing, whether it's a Ella Mastrantonio or a Lisa Devana, they said what they got from playing that physical style with the boys in their formative years was so advantageous when they got to play their senior football.
Definitely. When you're playing with the boys, you do have to move the ball quicker. I find what Dad always told me, you'll get better training and playing with the boys. So I always listened to him. And yeah, it could have played a part in my playing style now, potentially, yeah.
And I guess probably contributed to your, physical kind of core strength, not being knocked off the ball so easily.
Yeah. Well, Dad used to say I used to body the boys off the ball sometimes.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Ella, just having a bit of a look back at the weekend, there was the 2-1 result against UWA. Was there a little bit of a thought that maybe that needed to be a little bit more of a clinical performance, considering where UWA are on the table?
Yeah, definitely. UWA is an improved side from last season. I thought on their behalf, credits to them, they defended quite well. But however, we did have our chances that we should have put away for sure. Tommy and Nanda did reiterate that needs to be better this week against Subi. Because last time we met Subi, we only drew 1-1. So this week we'd be definitely looking to put a few more past them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a side that gave you a little bit of stick earlier this year. I think it was Mariana Tabane who popped up with a bit of a late one to kill off that momentum. So, I mean, is that hunger to kill off teams. I mean, how much priorities has been put on that this week in the messaging?
Well, for sure. Well, Tommy didn't reiterate too much. He did inform us of a couple players they've got, like Mariana Tabane, and they got a decent centre back as well. But honestly, he just said, as long as we stick to our playing style and our principles, I'm sure we'll come away with the 3 points, hopefully.
And where are you at physically at the moment? Because you did start on the bench on the weekend. You came off the bench and scored the winner, mind. But where are you physically at the moment?
I'm physically fine. I was just away in Singapore last.
Right.
I missed the Murdoch game for my birthday. Ironically, it is on Friday, so I was away for my 21st birthday. So I did miss the Murdoch game. And before that, Freo, played the Freo game, then benched against Murdoch. Benched in the cup as well and came on. But I am fully fit, hopefully firing ready to start against Subi.
And just, I guess, on your return, was it always going to be Perth? Was there other options, obviously, maybe over East or overseas or anything like that?
Yeah, I did consider over East. It was just kind of depending on what the options were with Glory, if they were going to reoffer me or not. That was kind of what I was relying on. So if Glory were to offer me for next season, then I wasn't going to consider over East. I didn't think there was much of a point, given, like, I've got a couple of jobs here, live at home. There wasn't really much. I didn't really think too much I had to move. But, yeah, if I was going to play, I was always going to stay at Perth. I find a home here and, yeah.
And as far as those options, obviously there's, in the women's game, it's much talked about at the moment, that whole work-life balance, moving over there, finding a place, finding something that might need to subsidise your football salary and everything else like that. I mean, there's a lot to weigh up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So obviously, like I said before, I do work a couple of jobs here. I live at home. I didn't find the need to go over there because I have actually extended for Glory. So I was happy to stay at Glory and I didn't think I needed other clubs to look at me at this stage. So I did choose to stay here and just get my match fitness back and, and start enjoying playing again, really.
And working with Stephen Peters and Pete Nowakowski and these kind of guys, how did you find that?
Yeah, I think we had a great bunch of coaches. They're great, really good people, and yeah, I learned quite a lot of them. Really, yeah.
Looking ahead to this weekend, of course, we did mention it, Subiaco. Does it feel like a little bit of a must-win? Of course, Red Star just kind of clipping at your heels a little bit on the table at the moment? Yeah,
definitely. I think this week's important for us, given the last result especially, 1-1. Yeah, and like you said, Red Star just behind us. So it's important we win every game going forward.
Well, we're very much looking forward to having you girls back at home at Dorrien Gardens. That is all happening, of course, Sunday afternoon. So get down there and support the Azzurri girls. Ella, thanks very much for giving us a few minutes.
Thank you, Blaine. Thanks for having me.
Big thank you to Ella Lincoln, who joined us just before that break a little bit earlier on. Of course, Kev Castle joined us. Big thank you to those two. And a big thank you to you for your ongoing support of us here at the Perth SC Podcast. Of course, presented by Lydia Fiore and the teams at the Panorama Club. And of course, Camera House in Leederville. Let's take a quick look ahead to the weekend. It is going to be another big fixture for our senior men as they get set to take on the rampaging Perth Glory at the moment. So, another tough fixture, 3 on the trot for the boys at the moment. But, hopefully they can head out there to the Sam Kerr Football Centre. That's happening on Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. kickoff for our senior men. Prior to that, of course, our 23s and our 18s looking to be in action and walk away with maximum points out there at Welshpool. So looking forward to that. On the Sunday, our senior women, they're back home. So get down to Dorrien Gardens. Looking forward to this one on the Sunday. They're going to be taking on Subiaco. They might have a little bit of a a point to prove after Subi gave them a little bit of stick earlier this year, as mentioned a little bit earlier on with Ella Lincoln. So we're very much looking forward to a packed weekend of football. Don't forget to tell everyone about the Perth SC podcast, available now on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, and of course YouTube Music. And keep spreading the news around the club. Of course, I know that it gets spread quite heavily on the email newsletters and everything else like that. But it is the inside word on what is happening around here at the mighty Perth Soccer Club. So keep listening. Big thank you to everyone for their ongoing support. Have a great weekend. Good luck to all of our teams involved, and come on the Azzurri.